Thanks for joining early, everyone. We'll get started in just a few minutes. All right, Darby, Yura, Nash, you all ready to get started?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Welcome back to the All Things Teams in Government series. We are excited to spend the next 30 minutes with you, and we have a great guest speaker today and an awesome topic for you. So today we're going to take a deeper look into Microsoft Viva Connections. But before we jump into all the details, let's do some quick introductions.
Is that me?
Oops. Are you able to slide forward? Thanks. My name's Darby O'Brien. I am a customer success manager on the East Coast, based out of Columbia, Maryland.
And I'm Bridget Ballard. I'm a customer success manager. I have customers all across the West Coast, and my home office is in Bellevue, Washington. We also have Nash on with us today. He's going to be helping us out with Q&A. Been on here a lot before. Sorry, Nash. We don't have your photo on here, but thanks for helping out.
My pleasure.
And then
hi, everyone.
Oops, sorry, go ahead, Yura.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yura Lee. I'm a Teams technical specialist, and I'm this week's guest speaker. I cover all of the state and local government, focusing on all things Viva, and my home office is in New Jersey.
Awesome. And with that, you're all handed over to you to get into the details of Viva Connections. Or actually, let me walk through this agenda here first. Sorry. So today, let's walk through. We're going to take a look at our upcoming schedule just as a reminder. You should also see some reminder emails coming out from us, and know that we always post this content after the call. We're going to take a look at what is Microsoft Viva. Yura has some great slides and a little demo prepared for us, and kind of talking about how it is available now in the government tenant. And then we have some next steps for you, as well as some resources and links that we will share towards the end of the call. Taking a look at our upcoming schedule here, just as a reminder, because this is kind of a relatively new layout for us, we now have 2 calls a month. So on the second Friday of every month, there is a live event, which is what we are in right now. That is from 1 to 1:30 Eastern. And then looking ahead at the schedule coming up in February, tentatively, we have a ServiceNow demo coming for the integration in Microsoft Teams. And March 11th is open. So if you have any ideas or topics that you'd love to see covered, just let us know. We're happy to get them on the schedule. And then on the 4th Friday of every month, there is an office hours, which isn't a regular Teams meeting. It is an open floor conversation for you to come ask your questions to us about the topic we previously presented on 2 weeks prior. So the next one will be January 28th, and that will be to talk about the Viva Connections that we're going to take a look at today. And then with that being said, I will hand it over to Yura to jump into the details of Viva Connections.
Thank you. So like we've mentioned before, Hi everybody. I am here to talk to you about all things Microsoft Viva. You might have heard about it already, and I might have actually spoken to some of you about Microsoft Viva. But if you haven't, I'm glad you're here. We're here to talk about kind of all of it, right? And I do want to give you kind of an introduction, some background as to what Viva is and why we're even talking about it. Oops. And then what I'll do is I'll go into a little bit more detail on, because we're talking to government customers and because we are in the GCC Sovereign Cloud, we will talk about some availability. Some good news is there's a lot of action items that you can take today if you're thinking about improving that employee experience, and we can go from there. So first of all, what is Viva? Why are we here? Right. So Microsoft has found that, lately people are no longer choosing a job based solely on location and a paycheck. They want purpose, flexibility, growth, development, and a culture where they feel like they belong. They want to make an impact, make a difference, and they want more of a work-life balance. In short, they are looking for a better employee experience. What is needed now is a new approach and a new category of technology solutions we call the Employee Experience Platform, or the EXP. An EXP is a digital platform that puts people at the center by bringing together all systems of work, all systems of support into an integrated employee experience. It provides people with the resources and the support they need to succeed and thrive no matter their location. Today, there are a lot of vendors focused on employee engagement and well-being, but they are most likely point solutions looking to solve one or a few of the symptoms of a separate experience. So today's moreover, today's solutions are fragmented and they are disconnected from where people do their work. The services and the resources employees need are often undiscovered or locked up in systems of record rather than a natural part of communication and workflow. So our vision is an integrated employee experience that brings together all of these resources into the natural flow of everyday work. So introduce Viva. Sorry about that. There is a quick video that we have. I'm not going to show it to you, but we will provide all of the information after this meeting. So moving on, we've got Microsoft Viva. To start, Viva has 4 different modules that you see here, and we'll be adding more in the future. Each of these builds on existing Microsoft 365 capabilities, and they are designed to integrate directly into Teams, as you can see from the UI for each module. I'm going to provide a quick description of each module, and then we're going to go specifically into connections today. I'm going to start with insights, and then I'll kind of go down the list, and then I'll end with connections so that we can go further into it. So first of all, Microsoft Viva Insights. Insights brings together what you might already know as Workplace Analytics or My Analytics into a unified Insights app in Teams to provide data-driven and privacy-protected insights for individuals, managers, and leaders. So, for example, employees get personalized insights only they can see that help them protect their time for breaks, focused work, and learning in order to promote improved and productivity well-being. Next, we've got Topics. Topics is focused on knowledge and expertise. Topics applies AI to identify knowledge and experts and organize them into shared topics. AI automatically creates a topic page for each topic. You can think of it as a Wikipedia for the enterprise, where AI writes the first draft. These topic pages are surfaced as topic cards right in the flow of work in Office and Teams. On the last one, we've got learning that allows employees to easily discover informal and formal learning within the flow of work. It aggregates content from LinkedIn Learning, Microsoft Learn, any third-party training content that you and your organization might have. You can also even bring your own, and it brings all of that into one place. It provides aggregation of all this content, and it also surfaces recommendations, and it allows managers to assign and track training as well as reports within the status across the team. Finally, we land on Viva Connections. Viva Connections is a company-branded employee app in Teams. It is a gateway to your employee experience with personalized news, communications, tasks, people, and resources. It provides a single curated employee destination that can be configured for specific roles. So leaders can communicate and engage with their employees, and employees can get easy access to the tools and resources they need from one place. Connections builds on existing capabilities like Microsoft 365. In specific workloads like SharePoint and Exchange, and if you have VMware, it builds off of that as well. It pulls your communications together into a pre-configured app within Teams designed for both desktop and mobile. It acts as a launching pad to the other 3 Viva modules. So today, we're going to specifically focus on Viva Connections. Like I said, it's your gateway to a modern engagement experience designed to keep everyone engaged and informed. Viva Connections gives everyone a personalized destination to discover relevant news, conversation, and the tools they need to succeed. Today in Microsoft 365, we have a lot of capabilities for employee communication engagement, so let's just add another tool, right? We have SharePoint, you might have VMware, we definitely have Teams and Stream. What Viva does is Viva Connections brings all of this together into a single company branded app within Teams. And I will show you what that will look like in a second here. Customers can brand and customize their own employee app. Overall, this is a very valuable channel to help people stay connected to leaders and to each other, to understand state, local government, state, local, city, county, department strategies and objectives and news, as well as it provides a place to ideate and collaborate on common interests and passions. The interactive aspects of Microsoft Viva's company app contributes to a sense of belonging that helps people feel connected to others and stay engaged throughout the workday. We think that this is a very powerful concept that adds to people who feel a little bit more disconnected, but they are using Teams. This can be a unifying application, helping together the different services into a single experience. Viva Connections has some key capabilities that help your employees find the right resource. For example, the global navigation is something that you can curate, make it easy for your employees to find important sites that they engage with most frequently through audience targeting. Disseminate the latest state, local government news without having to go somewhere else to get it. Help your users stay focused by giving them a way to navigate the internet resources directly within Teams. Microsoft has deployed Viva Connections internally. So as a Microsoft employee, I do want to tell you a little bit about our experience. At Microsoft, Viva Connections is branded to be our Microsoft company app. The app is available for all employees to download from the Teams App Store. It turns our company intranet, which you may know is called MSW. MSW is now more engaging, more personalized, and it connects people with information, news, and events, and with each other. It also includes return to work resources like health checks and office equipment resources. What's really powerful and what's really important to Microsoft culture is enabling leaders to connect and engage with employees at scale, right? So we all know Microsoft is a pretty massive company with employees just located everywhere across the globe. So it's really important that our CEO Satya Nadella and the rest of the senior leadership team, they hold a monthly town hall for all employees. They engage with employees throughout the month, every month, in what we call the CEO connection community. They get a pulse on employee questions and sentiment before, during, and after the town hall, creating a two-way conversation between leaders and employees at scale. This is immensely important to our culture, and it's thanks to all of these aggregated technologies that make this a reality for us. So enough of that. I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes or so showing you a quick demo of what you can make what you can do with Viva Connections, and I will also try and show you some of the resources you can take advantage of that are online. They're absolutely completely free. So give me 1 second to switch gears here. I'm muted. I'm back. So I've got what I've got here is you should see my Teams app, right? So this app is my Teams app is in the GCC environment. So it has an environment very similar to yours, with your typical activity chat, calls, Teams, calendars, files, etc. What you can notice here, I put on the top and I pinned on the top of the left-hand rail is Viva Connections. So I mentioned Viva Connections is an opportunity. It's designed to be an app within Teams. So what I did was I deployed the app, and it's essentially a SharePoint Online home site. It's a big, massive communication site that we've dedicated as essentially our intranet, and we've appified it. So as you see here, it's, my intranet happens to be called The Perspective, and it has a lot of curated information, right? So we've got some big news in the middle here with our chief marketing officer, and we have some news articles down below. On the side, I've got some customized weather information. You might already be familiar with a lot of this UI, but again, it's leveraging what you have, right? It's building off of SharePoint Online. So I have curated a section with my news, right? So it's curated information on what's the latest and the greatest from the company. If I scroll down a little bit, it's my recent documentation, which I'm sure you've already seen and are familiar with. And I've got recent sites and other company events. So this, as you can see, is taking your intranet and making it 100% more accessible, right? So this is plugged right into Teams, and it stays. And what's fantastic is I can check out my intranet right within the flow of work. Now you might want to see what it looks like kind of under the covers a little bit more. So what I did was I took us to the SharePoint Online site, and on the left you can see this is the global navigation that I've talked about. You can actually go ahead and create, and this will apply for anybody that lands on the connection site, is some quick links as to what an employee can look for, and make sure that it applies to everyone, and finds and surface some valuable information and links and resources where employees can go and find this really quick on the left-hand side. Next on, if you go down below, these are more targeted to me, right? So for what I do with my job, I frequent my Project Loki site. I frequent the bulletin board and the help desk, and so my job function requires something specific. So what I see here isn't going to be the same experience for Nash, because maybe Nash has a different job function, as with Darby and as with Bridget, right? So everyone's going to have a slightly different experience. It's more personalized. So you can see that not all of it is going to be the same for everybody. That makes things more productive for people who is accessing a lot of this information. So this is kind of I've mentioned Viva Connections. You can think of it as a more evolved and involved intranet, right? So if I have a lot of customers that say, right now we're using SharePoint 2013 and we do want to upgrade that. We do want to make sure that when you move from SharePoint 2013 to SharePoint Online, for example, you do want to absolutely make sure that you leverage modern sites to be able to surface a lot of this information this way, right? So there might be some work into, converting those sites into and converting that data into and be able to surface that information pretty easily with using SharePoint modern sites. There might be some data that migrations that have to take place, but I do want you to take away from what I do want you guys to take away from this is you can actually go ahead and stand this up today, try it out today, without saying we have to migrate all of our internet data first. You absolutely do not have to do that because you're already using Teams and you're already leveraging SharePoint Online. What you can do is you can start actually creating a POC, right? If you want to redo and redesign, upgrade your internet, this is the first step. It's kind of figure out, okay, what type of resources are available today that we can actually start surfacing today and right now, and then start building that. And what's really great is because this relies on Teams and using the Teams Admin Center, you might be familiar with app permission policies, and you can absolutely go ahead and create this where it's a pilot, it's a POC, so I want to make sure I only want to surface this Viva Connections app to specific people. So you can absolutely go ahead and start a pilot today using these tools that we have today. What's really cool is we do have an enablement PowerPoint that I can share with the rest of the team here and make sure that's disseminated to everybody. And that gives you a good step-by-step guide as to how to deploy this within GCC. We have a chat going on here, and Nash brings up a good point. At this moment, for our GCC customers, Viva Connections is only available from a desktop perspective. So while this is really designed to work for both desktop and mobile, right now it's just for desktop. And with that, we've got 9 minutes left to do some Q&A. So I'd be happy to take some of those.
Hey, Yura, I know you mentioned it, but I know we get this question a lot. Maybe just going into a little bit more detail on the modern SharePoint side and what's required, and maybe what customers would think about as they're planning to do a connections deployment.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. Like I mentioned, I do have a lot of customers that are on SharePoint 2013. I do also have a lot of customers, and you might be one of them who you're using SharePoint Online, but you're using SharePoint Online Classic sites. It's really important for us to start thinking about converting those classic sites into modern sites, Viva Connections, and even just the rest of the Viva modules. They aren't designed to work with classic sites. So we do want to start thinking about transitioning into modern sites.
Let's see. There was a question on cost. I think we answered that in the chat, but Viva Connections desktop that Yura is showing is free and available today. And Nash posted the documentation for the desktop setup. Now as the other Viva modules are rolled out, we'll have a better idea of pricing for those, but everything that you're seeing here today with Connections is free. And okay, so we have another great question here. I know we get this one a lot too. With app permissioning, there's a number of different offices and departments inside of a tenant that we wouldn't necessarily want to have a company-wide app. So is it possible to have separate apps? Maybe you could talk about, the benefits of having a company-wide app and how we've approached this in other discussion.
Yeah, so this does warrant a separate conversation, I think, with your local Microsoft account team. But we do want to think of it as, you know, how is your tenant set up, right? So we do have a lot of government customers who have, you know, you might be the Department of Health and you have your own tenant. What you want to do in that case is you have the Department of Health, you have any information that applies to any employee of the Department of Health. It might be some city news, it might be some state news, county laws, whatever it is. You want to be able to bring that type of information up and surface that information up as for everyone to, you know, to be involved with and inform everybody. It doesn't matter what role you're in. You just, this is the news. This is what it is. It's being, you know, implemented by the mayor, the governor, whoever else. So in that situation, you can push Viva Connections app for everybody, right? And you won't necessarily have to kind of manage, you know, per user group or anything like that, because whatever information you're surfacing in this situation, it applies to everybody. But on the other hand, you might have a tenant where you're hosting 40 different agencies, 40 different departments, right? You do want to kind of focus on the same concept of anything that applies to all state, local government employees. You do want to take that information and surface it to everybody. And what's great about SharePoint is you do have your home site, but then you might have your dedicated department site already set up. So you have your Viva Connections site that will, you know, connect you to news and information regardless of your job profile, right? And then you have your department site, which you can configure and curate to make sure that you know, each user from different departments can easily access their own department SharePoint site, and that site will have, you know, department specific information. So you do want to kind of think about the architecture that way, and think about what type of information you're surfacing. There's bound to be information, right, that's going to affect everybody versus just the department. And if that's the case, then you have, you know, SharePoint sites, team sites, or collaboration sites, or hub sites you can do that pertain to specific departments versus everybody else. That way, you're minimizing the risk of having repetitive information within your SharePoint sites. I hope that helps.
Oh, we got a lot of questions, Ira, so I'm going.
Started something, huh?
I'm filtering through them here.
Okay.
Maybe, all right, I'll read you this one, and then you can say, you know, if this is best kind of discussed with the account team level. But I know, you know, customers are on Classic, maybe it's on-prem. We have a customer that is asking, if you have a Classic site that is on-prem, but the new modern sites are online, how easy or complicated is it to move that information?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would absolutely recommend that we bring in our Microsoft account team. The quick answer is it depends on how much customization you've got going on your on-prem site. With that said, if you've got something highly customized, it's usually a better avenue to you know, work along with a partner alongside with your Microsoft account team to figure out kind of how heavy lifting is involved there. But that's just generally what I see. The more customized it is, the more complex the project is to move that information. Sometimes you have to bring in some developers to migrate that information. Sometimes I've seen, you know, customers say this is an absolute legacy application. All of the information here is super old, and so we, you know, some people decide to kind of let it age out and focus on the newer technologies, and some customers decide, you know, it's absolutely imperative that we spend the money and time to make those changes. I hope that helps.
Thanks, Yura. Just jumping in here because we've got a lot of questions in the queue. So before we run out of time, if anyone feels like they want to have more of an individualized conversation on what Viva would look like in your environment, or has those questions about how it would specifically look in your tenant, please feel free to drop your organization name and your email in the Q&A, and we'll have someone reach out to you to have those conversations to talk more specifically about how that would line up with your own tenant.
All right, there are a few other questions. We can do our best to kind of go through the chat and answer them. We've got a lot of people working in the chat, so hopefully we'll get all of these answered. I know we only have 1 minute left, and I did see a question on how will these slides and this content be published. The same link that you used today to join this live event, we also use as our content repository. So the URL, all things teams and government that you clicked on, after this event, we will switch it back to our landing page, and that is where we post all of the videos and all of the content. So you can go back to that page to see all of our past contents. And typically we post the content from our Friday calls around Monday or Tuesday of the following week. All right, Nash, Darby, you see any other questions you think we can answer with 1 minute here?
Yeah, there's one good one about someone's asking, can we push updates to Teams posts when we have changes in Viva? And really, I think the quick answer is that Viva Connections Desktop doesn't do that today, but that's why we see so many people pairing Viva Connections Desktop with the Company Communicator app. The Company Communicator app exists to go and do those push notifications for your organizational comms folks. And I'll throw a link to that in the
that's a really good point, Nash. I also wonder, you know, how much of not Power Apps, but maybe Logic apps can be involved in pushing some of this information out to a larger scale like that. It's something worth exploring, I think. And I don't quite have the answers to that yet, but it's a very good question. Company Communicator app is absolutely a solid avenue to keep everyone updated as well.
All right, well, I know that we typically keep this to 30 minutes, so don't want to keep you all too much longer here. Thank you all so much for joining today. There was lots of questions, so we really enjoy the engagement. As Darby mentioned, if you want us to help connect you to your account team, please do drop your name and email in the chat. Only us on the Microsoft side will see that, so we'll be sure that we just contact your specific account representative for you. But we look forward to continuing conversations on connections. I know we're all really excited about this and just starting to use it ourselves inside of Microsoft. So it's been a big help to us internally as well. Any final words from the rest of the team?
No, thank you for joining. Thank you for having us.
Yep, thanks everyone. Great questions this week.
All right, everyone will take care and have a great holiday weekend.